Hey everybody, it's Joe Jonas hanging with Jag.
Hi, this is Carly Rae Jepsen, and you're listening to Jag.
Ryan Seacrest with Jag.
It's B.O.B. So much swag with my homie Jag.
And now, a look at this week in podcasting news. It's the Jag Show podcast.
Welcome in, I'm John Gay. Have you seen Ted Lasso? Well, I haven't, but everyone I know keeps telling me that I need to. But I'm not a soccer fan. You'll still love it. I don't have Apple TV. Get it. So finally, I decided yesterday to drop the $5 a month so I can watch Ted Lasso, The Morning Show, and some other stuff on Apple TV. Now, I really didn't want to add another monthly bill, even $5, on top of Netflix, Disney+, YouTube TV. In fact, I just decided to drop an extra $10 a month so I can get 4K channels on YouTube TV. I figure I got a 4K TV, may as well watch the Olympics in 4K. And I'm not going to lie, it's pretty sweet. I cannot wait for football season. What does all this have to do with podcasts? Well, it appears a large number of media companies are offering premium, meaning paid, content through Apple, Spotify, and other means. But there's more than you can count. So which ones do you choose? For me, it took a ton of peer pressure to finally cave on Apple TV. And it took something brand new and cutting edge, sports in 4K, to up my YouTube TV subscription. Before you start asking your listeners to pay for what you put out, ask yourself, is it good enough? Can it compete for that monthly $5 or $10 with Disney Plus and Hulu and Netflix? Now, if you're providing some really unique niche content, the answer may be yes. But I think for most of us, the answer is no. I think it's still hard to monetize a podcast, but the easier route is through advertisers. Your podcast listeners are much more valuable than all those little hearts on Facebook and the gram. Why? Because your listeners are more engaged. They aren't just scrolling through and tapping, they're actually listening. Even if you don't have many listeners, as I always say, your basket weaving podcast might be really attractive to a basket company. Speaking of advertising, Crooked Media's Pod Save America now opening themselves up to ads in other countries. Apparently there's quite an appetite for American politics in Canada, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Acast is going to handle those international ads. If you love the Olympics, NBC has 4 podcasts on their Olympics channel in Apple Podcasts. The Podium, The Village, On Her Turf, and My New Favorite Olympian. They are free to listen to. Speaking of Apple Podcasts, they're looking for a head of content. I can only assume that duties in that job include screaming at the app development team daily, thinking you're the only game in town, and putting out dumpster fires. Podcasting OG Evo Terra says we have entered the chaotic era of podcasting. He says no huge companies are coming to save us. You need to diversify your podcast assets and footprint and hold on for dear life. His podcast Pontifications article talking about this is linked from today's show notes. Told you a couple weeks ago about everybody freaking out about the Audacity editing app and how its new privacy policy raises some concerns. Well, they've got a new privacy policy promising not to store IP addresses or scare away kids under 13. As James Cridlin from Pod News points out, that's likely due to the reporting of podcast media and the resulting outcry from a couple weeks ago. Podcast host Buzzsprout is offering dynamic ad insertion on all plans. Now, if you're not familiar with dynamic ad insertion, it puts ads in your show based on when a listener is hearing it, where they are, or other factors, creating a more tailored experience. For example, if you have something time-sensitive, like a tease for podcast movement, you can turn it on or off for a certain time period. Now, it's my hope that dynamic ad insertion is going to come to all other podcast hosts for all tiers of plans, making it the norm in the industry. That will go a long way to helping the industry grow. MTV teaming up with iHeart to re-release classic episodes of Behind the Music. It's on YouTube, going to come out as a podcast as well. A friendly reminder to check and see if your podcast's name has already been claimed. Maybe not a huge deal if you're an average Joe, but if you're rich and famous, or hope to be someday, you gotta do your homework. Actress and Michigan native Kristen Bell tried to release a show called Shattered Glass. Well, name was already taken, so they got a cease and desist, and she had to rename it. The show is now called We Are Supported By. For my fellow Syracuse grads, Carmelo Anthony creating a podcast version of his YouTube series, What's in Your Glass? Sadly, it's wine, not orange juice. The Clubhouse app now out of beta and available for everyone on iOS and Android. I'll be curious to see what Mark Cuban, who founded Clubhouse rival Fireside, has to say when he keynotes Podcast Movement in Nashville next week. And speaking of Podcast Movement, I'm vaxxed, masked, and really excited for the return of the in-person event. They're going to have recording areas set up, so time permitting, I might do a bonus episode of The Jag Show next week from Nashville. Otherwise, expect a ton of information about podcasting that I gleaned when I get back. Until next time, stay healthy and stay safe. Later.
If you like what you just heard, share The Jag Show with someone else who's interested in podcasts. You can also follow The Jag Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. For help creating or improving your podcast, visit jagindetroit.com.